Absolutely proud of our players, proud of our seniors, proud of our program, proud of our fans and our student body. The consistency that they have shown throughout the year is the reason why we finished in this building 18-2. That's the reason why we finished 18-2. Everybody collectively gave their very best. And when you can create a magical environment, it's because of our community, it's because of our institution, it's because of our tradition. And we want to continue to build on that. Obviously, the outcome of this game adds to the two. Obviously, we wanted to do better. We didn't. I thought we had great opportunities. We cut the lead in that second half to about 4 or 5. They cut it right back up to 10 with free throws. And those are things that we got to execute defensively, but also on the other end, we got to come away with another foul or even execute on the line, and I don't think we did that to the best of our ability. There were open possessions, probably about 8 points. 8 of their points specifically never got defended because of our mistakes and turnovers that led to layups or dunks. Those are self-inflicting wounds. Obviously, from the free throw line, we fouled late, but they still won that area, being able to go 26 for 33 from the line.
Questions?
Dennis, can you tell us, at the end of the game, when you're addressing the fan base and you're addressing this team, what was kind of running through your head, and what has this team meant to you over the past season?
Well, I think you guys seen clearly what they mean to me. This doesn't happen if players don't believe in the vision of a head coach, staff doesn't believe in it, but I specifically wanted to talk to our players and tell them how proud I am of them and thank them and their families for believing in just our vision, my vision as a head coach, and they've executed it ever since they moved on campus. The recruiting process is one thing, but when you allow, barriers to be broken and trust to be built, that's what you saw take place. And obviously, the job's not done yet. The next stop is trying to compete for a SEC tournament championship. To be able to win 10 games in this conference is a great accomplishment. I don't want to belittle that, but we still left a lot on the table where I thought, we could have turned the corner and finished in a double bye or even competed for a championship. Things needed to happen that didn't, but I just wanted to talk to our guys, let them know how proud I am of them. This being the last time they play on this court and in this arena.
Dennis, you talked before about how some of your former coaches had saved your life and just the impact they made on you. How fulfilling is it for you as a person to, as you hope to make that same impact on their lives?
I talked to Coach Ham today, and basically he reminded me and said, we were joking, and we ended up getting on the topic of Hall of Fame for him. He said, man, I hope heaven is on the way into the Hall of Fame. That's how he approaches coaching. He tries to impact people, and he's done that for me. And leave no doubt about it, I want to impact my players no different than my high school coaches, AAU coaches, college coaches have impacted my life. These guys mean a lot to me. I'm not afraid to tell them I love them. They're not afraid to tell me that back. I'm not afraid to put my arms around them, let them know I care, or put my arms around them and give them a headlock if they need that. But growth and development requires accountability, and these guys allow me to hold them accountable in every facet of the name of a head coach. I'll always be their head coach, no matter what. They'll introduce me to their children one day as this is Coach Gates. They'll introduce me to their significant other one day and say this is Coach Gates, and we'll be able to continue to share stories. But the book isn't done yet for this season. We want to continue to make some great memories, and we will.
Hey, Coach, obviously a lot of...
Can we ask some questions to the players first? I'm sorry to cut you off, but after you.
Yeah, after me.
Yeah,
all right.
Go ahead.
Obviously a lot of optimism with the season as a whole and recognizing the seniors. I wanted to ask about the defense, just the last, 5 or 6 games now. Today was threes and free throws, like I said, compared to maybe paint points. But, what are you seeing from the defense that you didn't see earlier in the year?
I see a different foul count.
Okay.
That's what I see. We were doing, how we won was on the foul line. The last 3 years of the SEC season, we were last place in drawing free throw fouls and shots. I did an entire research project on it. We were always, even my first season here, we were at the bottom half of that. So when we looked at this season, when I looked at our players and I saw the physicality and their talent, I said this is an area where this team will be able to improve. If we don't get to this foul line, execute at the foul line, we won't give ourselves a chance to win. If we are plus 10 in free throw shooting against opponents, we will win games. Now that has turned around, and you see teams living at the free throw line a little bit more. And, you know, I credit Kentucky, because I think at one point 7 of their 9 field goals or something was from 3 at the beginning of the game. So they made some great shots. They executed. Our defense we did a good job defensively, but we just, because of the foul count part, because we had to foul end of game trying to figure out if they was going to miss or not, that's why that number is so high. But we can't go 14 for 21. When you look at Oklahoma, they were number 1 in the conference in shooting free throw percentages. Obviously, at, I would say, Vanderbilt, they did a great job as well, and we didn't. You know, our game before that at Arkansas, it was 37-17. We're at a point of a season where mistakes has to be minimized, and the mistakes was points off turnovers today.
Marques, but everybody looks at the postseason as kind of a chance to start over, reset. How close do you guys feel like this team is to flipping these results back to where you were 3 weeks ago?
I think we're very close, and we all know that. But like, you know what Coach said, what we've been doing different is the foul count against the free throw line just hasn't been the same the past few games. So we know what to do. We're gonna get back to that, but we're not discouraged at all. We're basically, like we said, starting another season and going to SEC play, SEC tournament. So we're right there.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Quez said, man, it's a game of inches, so we're not gonna get too down on ourselves. Man, we're shoot a couple possessions from being like 3 losses in the conference, so no discouragement. Always gonna get back to work. We know what we can do. We know the type of team we have, and we're just gonna keep working.
Marques, you haven't got as many opportunities as you have in your first few years of college. Just kind of how have you kept yourself ready for a moment like today in the second half where you're able to step in and produce the way you did?
Yeah, it's just with the work I put in, you never know what's going to happen in the game. I've learned that throughout my 5 years now in college. You never know. So that's just what I've been doing this year. A little bit differently from my previous school, but I've just been staying ready for the opportunity whenever my name is called. And that starts with defense first, and then offense will take care of itself.
Mark, you talked about your jump shot a little bit this season. How much does it open up the rest of your game when you can make 2 3-pointers in a game?
I mean, obviously it's gonna open up a lot. Just keeping them honest. You know, obviously me getting downhill is just a strength of my game. So whenever I can just keep them honest, mix it up a little bit, it's definitely hard for defense to stop me.
For Mark and Marques, you all talked a lot this season about not getting too high and not getting too low. As you enter postseason play, how important is remaining emotionally steady going to be?
Really important because when you win an SEC tournament, like it's back to back, so you can't think about the last game that just happened. Even if you win by how many points, like you got to get on to the next one. When you lose, or if you lose in the SEC tournament, it's on to the big dance. So you got to just move on. Can't get high, can't get too low or anything.
Yeah, I think Marques said it perfectly. We're just gonna say even keel. Obviously, we've had some highs in our season. This is probably one of our lower moments, but we know who we are. We knew the culture that we built, the system that all that we've been through. It's built us for these moments, so we know we're gonna get right back to it. It's a new season starting next week. So.
For Mark and Marques, y'all shot 35% through the first half. What was Kentucky maybe doing defensively that was giving y'all trouble, or do you feel like it was what Coach King said, some self-inflicted stuff?
Yeah, I think it was self-inflicted. Obviously, they're a good team. They have some length, some size. I think we just missed some shots we usually make.
They disrupted us on when we were on offense. Missed some shots that we definitely could have made, but it was credit to them on offense as well. It was 38-29, I think, but yeah, credit to them.
Mark, Coach has talked to you about improving your rebounding at points in the season and has said that it has led to improvements in your game overall. Today, you were really picking up the rebounds in the first half. How do you think that helped you, progress through this game?
I was just trying to do what the team needed me to do to give us a chance. I mean, obviously rebounding somebody to do with my size and my athleticism, it gives us a boost, and that's what I was trying to do early. So.
Last question for players.
Marques, being from Lexington, Kentucky, you haven't played Kentucky in the regular season before. Was this a game you had circled on your calendar, so to speak, and what was it like going out there and getting buckets against your hometown team?
Yeah, for sure it was on my calendar, because it's one of the top programs traditionally in the country. So just going out there, I wish we played at Lexington, because I would have had a whole crowd there. But it felt good to just be out there and play against a team that I've watched ever since I was a little kid, and I've went to games and things like that. So, but yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
You guys free to go. I'm here as long as you guys need me.
Coach, for you, you mentioned that I think you said it was 8 of their points that just weren't defended with
Backcourt turnovers that led to uncontested layups, that whether we were running away from an outlet or trying to make a move, I thought certain situations, Caleb Grill, who was dribbling, a defender bumped him inadvertently, facing the other way. That's an automatic foul. That's an automatic foul that was not called, and that's okay. Things happen. Referees aren't 100%, nor our coaches, nor our players. So those situations that I speak of led directly to layups. Those were points off turnovers. They had 10 in the first half. We gave them 6 uncontested in the first half, 8 altogether for the game. The other part of it is, think of the situation where you have a foul. Sometimes those are turnovers. If you think of it, just a foul, uncontested, they score off the free throw line. So those situations early on in the game made it a little bit more difficult with their shooting percentage, the percentage that they had, and obviously our guys being able to fight back. I think they held the lead for 20 to 30 minutes, and all of it happened in the last 30 minutes of the game. The first 10, I thought we played well enough, but we didn't have when we held them to 7 points, 4 points with 10 minutes, or 7 points with 10 minutes, we wasn't shooting free throws. And I thought we got fouled in some situations that should have led us to double-digit free throw count. Yeah, the ball's not going to always go in, but ultimately, I just thought our guys, put themselves in a situation where, the other team just executed more on the line.
Coach, you talked about in previous times this season where an advantage you guys have is that when the shot goes up, that is a split second where they're not playing defense and you guys can attack on offense. But
Yeah.
It looked like Kentucky was doing a lot of that today. How do you think your defense fared today against that?
Well, they had 10 offensive rebounds. We have 14. That's a plus, 4. But in second chance points, we had 15. So it was a part of our offense. We held them to 4 points off second chance, which was great. But now you add the free throws and the fouls and different things like that. That's where we wasn't able to, pursue the basketball. Just think about that stretch where we got deflections, we got loose balls. That ball rolled from half court all the way down. He saved it miraculously, and it had to go through 2 of our guys, and sometimes the bounce of the ball, we just didn't execute, and I thought our crowd was behind us. We could have probably blew the roof off this place if we had execute defensively and stayed out of rotation. But our guys, we won the first half. The second half, we lost the first half by too many, and those too many was points off turnovers.
Coach, you reinserted Josh into the starting 5 today. What did you see out of him from a tone-setting standpoint, and then as the second half progressed?
Well, I think you saw, when you see the difference of these games that we've played, you saw Josh Gray's presence early in the first 5 to 10 minutes with his defensive ability. It may not show up in the stat sheet, but it shows up in presence. Obviously, that gives us a bigger lineup with Mark Mitchell at the 4 versus a Trent Pierce. Trent Pierce has been playing good basketball. He just has to take the next step. And for he and Ant, again, I issued the challenge to those 2 early, probably about 3 weeks ago, and they responded. They played better, we played better. They're hitting that wall again, and we just need consistency out of those 2 guys. And when you see that, we're a completely different team.
Dennis, I know long season, everybody plays the same season. Have you sensed any fatigue, mental or physical, in your team the last few weeks, and can this little break help that if you have?
Yeah, no fatigue, no mental, emotional fatigue or anything like that. Our guys have done a great job. If you look at our minutes distribution, they've been below 30 minutes. And when you can do that with your depth, you obviously extend health. You extend the possibility of having mental or emotional fatigue that has not crept into ours in our program. What I do see is that our guys, we've been, instead of being sort of targeting guys, we've been the target. Hell, I never thought we'd get the floor rushed on us. We got rushed on against Vanderbilt. That's a change in the guard a little bit. And that shift emotionally and mentally inside of the season is a lot different than other teams have had to go. No one put us in a position. What were we, preseason 14, 13? What we finished? 7 or 8 on a tiebreaker with 3 teams? No one, if we said that to you guys before the season, y'all would laugh at me. Just like y'all laugh at me when I say we hadn't reached our peak yet. We hadn't. But I think our team has earned the respect from other programs and other fans and all college basketball enthusiasts. That's what I look at. The respect has changed. So now our responsibility as a program has to change. Our emotional capacity has to continue to grow. And that's where you look at those opportunities. And our guys have done a great job, man. I'm proud of them, without a doubt.
What you're talking about there, are there any extra challenges to achieving that coming through a 3-game losing streak heading into the postseason?
Well, if you look at the entire conference, you guys were shocked that we hadn't had a 3-game losing streak when everybody else in the conference has. Alabama may be on their first 3-game losing streak if they lose today, right? But other teams have had 3-4 games. Hell, Texas A&M was 4-game losing streak until they beat somebody. And they ended up beating the #1 team in the country to disregard a 5-game losing streak in this conference. But they still remain top 25, right? Now think about that. SEC teams going through 3 to 5 game or 3 to 4 game losing streaks, staying in the top 5, staying in the top 25. That's unheard of. But what it says is this is more difficult than anybody thinks. We are asking our players to continue to perform. I just hope we hadn't, as a conference, bludgeoning each other too much where we can't compete in NCAA. And when you look at the history of the NCAA tournament, some winners have finished right where we are. Some have finished right where we are. So we're excited about SEC tournament. It's an opportunity for us to win a SEC tournament championship, and that's our approach.
Coach, when Caleb Grill subbed out of the game.
Yeah, that was emotional.
Yeah.
I almost cried then.
What was that moment like for you too?
Well, Caleb, he's done everything I've asked him to do. And when you have a kid do exactly what you ask, top to bottom, from the first, no matter what somebody or some writer has written about him, he has done everything I've asked him to do. Everything. He will go down as one of the change agents in Missouri basketball. He will have a pro career, and what I look at is he'll have a relationship with me for life, and I mean that. I love Caleb Grill, I love our entire team, but that young man has defied some odds, and you guys don't even know half the story. That's the funny part. Y'all have no clue. You have no clue. I think he can write a book. I'm gonna encourage him to write a book. So if somebody in here wanna write his book, I'm his agent, and I will be taking phone calls shortly, okay?
Last question.
I know it's pretty soon
Give me
after.
2 more.
2 more questions.
I know it's pretty soon after the game, but is there any update or prognosis on Tony Perkins after he left Midwest?
Well, he could have gone back in, but Marques Warrick was playing well. Marques Warrick, I didn't want to take Marques Warrick to have 17 points in 14 minutes. I mean, he impacted the game. So at that point, I knew I was going to leave him in. It was great to see Tony walk. It was great to see him cheering for his teammates. And I thought he did a good job throughout the game, impacting it how he did. But that was a freak accident. I think I thought he got tripped, but he didn't. But his knee gave out on him. So nothing has come of it. Last question.
Coach, I was going to ask, I think there was a moment that going into a timeout, you kind of stepped out to talk to one of the officials, and Mark Mitchell kind of just put his hand on your chest and kind of corralled you back to the huddle. How big is it to have a leader like Mark on the team?
They know I was fighting for him. They didn't want me to get a tech. I wanted to get a tech. They didn't want me to. So I had to listen to my players. They didn't want me to get a tech. They repeated and said, Coach, don't get one, we okay. So when you have your team do that, I thought I could have gotten a tech about 3 or 4 times. I tried, but I tried to do it respectfully. I even went out on the court, almost to half court, when the referee was about to call a report a foul, but I clicked. He looked at me, I looked at him, he picked his whistle up, I said, timeout. So I think that was an opportunity for me to get a tech, but I kind of combated it with a timeout, and he forgave me. Nobody's 100%. I don't do 100% of things in life right as it relates to being a coach, but players cover up for me. Staff covers up for me, and referees aren't going to do 100%. They have a difficult job. This was the most difficult job throughout the season for our referees to try to get it right. And when you have the level of athletes, the level of players, the situations, sheesh. We got losing records that's going to the NCAA tournament. Losing records. When was the last time that happened? Jason?
Sure.
Jason's supposed to know that. Anybody know the answer? Losing records, losing conference records. How many this year will we have in the NCAA? Going, and how many other conferences have had in their history? That's a project. Somebody can write a good article. All the veterans in here, let the young guys write a good article. You guys don't steal glory on that. So somebody, one of you young guys, please write that article. That would be unbelievable informational, because I do think it talks about the history of SEC play and where we are currently. But I want to say thank you to all of you in this room. You guys have done a great job narrating the story of this season, and obviously respectfully pushing back last season and allowing these players an opportunity to make something right. And that's a part of it. You guys have went into the living rooms of a lot of fans, from St. Louis, Kansas City to the Blue Hill, all the way up north. So I credit each and every last one of you guys for what you've been able to do, and God bless your careers. If there's anything I can do, don't hesitate. We'll have some things happen in the off season. We'll have a banquet on the Thursday or Friday after the Final Four. Hopefully we'll have a parade before that. But most importantly, you guys got to understand what you've been able to do. Ladies up top, you guys got to understand what you've been able to do in this business. And with the growth of social media, you know, I don't read all your stories, but I do understand, because of your stories is why this crowd is the way it is. They want to see what you write about. So thank you. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.